Ladies and gentlemen, live from Mineral Bluff, Georgia, this is Miss Gloria Hass,
Hass,
Hass from Phoenix,
Tucson.
Tucson, Arizona. That's right. See, that's why I don't ask all the
Tucson.
questions. Anyway, here we go. All right. She is a good friend of mine. She is also in Encounters, and it's going to be season 2. Ooh, yeah. Ooh,
Yes.
yes. And
I'm the
so
last interview on season 2.
yes, but one of my first interviews of the year on Objects and Orbs. Thank you so much. And so I'm going to let you tell your story, and we're just going to go from there. And then I'm going to try to do what I can, and you do your thing. You do you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm incarnate, what some people call incarnate, and a walk-in, some people call it walk-in extraterrestrial. It's where my spirit was put into a stillborn baby. There are some people who take over other people's lives, who are still alive, but not me. I chose to come into a stillborn baby. It's a contract that I signed with the Gray Extraterrestrials before I came. And with my coming, my metaphysical abilities along with that came, which include levitation, telekinesis, and clairvoyance, remote touching, remote viewing, all of that. I can hear things and I can parallel lives, and I'm still interdimensional in some planes. And because of the density, 3D density, I had to reacquire some of my memories, and I'm now reacquiring levitation and telekinesis because I didn't want to stand out in the crowd, which I did. And also, my mother couldn't have anyone upstage her with anything. So I went ahead and downplayed all of that. And when you do that as an extraterrestrial, then you need to relearn things, reacquire. And that's a lot harder than if you keep it as you go along.
Greetings from Danny Staten, South Carolina.
Hi, Danny.
Thank you. All right. So with all of that and everything that you've done, what do you continue to do now?
Now, what I do is I get the word out about helping lower stigma. You know, there are people who are about extraterrestrials, humanoid ETs. They say, oh, they're hiding, they're this, they're that. I'm a humanoid ET. I look like a human with flesh and blood. And there are other children on the planet and adults who are also humanoid ETs. And this is what we look like. We look just like everyone else. We have adopted the DNA of the body we have taken over. Health conditions, all the biological stuff from the human mother and father. So we're not here to threaten anyone. We have agreed to come to help build a hardier future race. And the extraterrestrials have been here for many years, and they're coming back in time because they know what is going on. People are saying you're using them as a human experiment. Well, what do we do with rats and squirrels in labs? There are even people, even our doctors, oh gosh, when a woman has a miscarriage or an abortion, they take that baby and they take the embryo, they take the fetus, and they do experiments on it. So yeah, this is the law of nature and how things happen.
Yes.
And I'm not saying I agree with a lot of it, and I'm not saying I disagree. This is just the way it is.
It's interesting that you tell me that, because just recently, or before we came on the air, I was speaking with a friend of mine who was having these terrible times with abductions and was thinking that we were here to be lab rats and all these things, and he was afraid of that. But also said, if you were to go willingly and say, and they are bringing you back every time you ask to become back. It may be that there is a higher learning for you, to be able to see things and do things, because it sounds like even what he was telling me is stuff that you're telling me right now too. But they are here to to build a nicer race.
To make us stop fighting each other and destroy this planet, because it's just destroying. It's just, yeah. And I think they need to step in. They probably didn't want to step in, but they need to step in and, save it, because we as human race, we're fighting against each other. There's, the political sides of it, and that they're fighting each other. And it's just, as they're fighting, other things are happening. And, the ice caps are melting, and there's more fires, and there's more this and more storms. And we're just,
and
I think they need to step in and show us what to do.
And
they will soon. They will soon.
And lately, with some of the sightings that me and her have both had, it seems like we're seeing some type of symbols or symbolism, and it seems to be either meant for, I don't know, maybe it's meant for just us, maybe it's meant for whoever, but it just seems like that there's more symbolism type things coming up. What do you think about that?
What do you mean by symbolism?
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, like if you look at, I've got over 1,600 pictures, and it seems like this craft keeps morphing into something else, literally every other frame. So it seems like it's trying to show a picture or something to me. I don't know if it's trying to help me see something better. I don't know if that means symbolism or not. I don't know. What do you think? Or does that sound quite crazy?
To me, it doesn't sound crazy,
Right.
because my story sounds absolutely crazy to a lot of people. But I don't. In the morphing, I think what they do is they're showing you what their abilities are, and they may be morphing because they don't want other people to see them. It's like,
and I think it's a. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. So, Nigel has told me that that's not just the little craft. It's actually a bigger craft that is part of that, which is just like we were talking about, a what do you call that?
The mothership.
Yeah, the mothership, but also the the animate, not the animation, but what do you call that? Hologram.
Hologram.
A hologram.
Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of the thing that is more of a hologram than anything. And even I had a light showing down on that object while it was doing its thing, and Nigel said, "Yep, that's the light that's doing the hologram." And then so he showed me some other settings. So kind of what we were talking about earlier, before we signed on the air too, was some of that, like kind of like what you're talking about. You're like, oh my gosh, yeah, really.
Well, I think it was last week. Time goes by real quick, for me at times. That I had asked. I did a craft calling, and I said, "Can I please see something tonight I've never seen before?" And it was like in the 30s outside, so I didn't go outside, and I took the video from my bedroom window, which causes some density issues because of the glass with everything. You have all the lights off. And I saw two lights appear out of nowhere. And then it looks like one light stops while the other one is going along, but they both look like fishes swimming. But the one stopped. And when I had sent the picture to Jim, he did a hologram on it. And because I'm doing this on my camera, not my phone, and my phone doesn't have the capability for the hologram. And he said that is the two lights, and they do shape shift, and they do what they need to. He said, but he saw a larger craft that was completely cloaked.
So that makes total sense.
Yeah, and it's moving along the helicopter airspace in downtown Tucson.
Wow. That's nuts.
And it doesn't hit anything. It doesn't bump into anything. And then the following night before sunset, I said, I'm going to look out. Can I please see a mothership? Because I haven't seen one since 2018. So what happens at sunset? Is a 3-layer cloud. And I took a picture of it. I sent it to Jim. It's a mothership.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So and how often does that happen to you too, baby? All the stuff that you see, even last night.
Well, I haven't seen anything in the clouds yet. That'd be really cool. But just I see craft. Like I saw 5 last night. 5. And I was just like, wow,
If you want to see a mothership, Claudette, put your request out ahead of time during the day and see what happens. They may come in a cloud. They may just come with the lights. It all depends on how they want to appear. And the craft that you're seeing that looks like a bus that has the other lights on it,
right,
are the benevolent reptilians.
Okay.
Right, that's what I thought.
That's okay.
I sent you the picture, Les, and from what Jim was able to extract out of it, one in color and one in black and white.
Wow.
It was cool.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel even cool. That's even better. I mean,
right.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing too that that I love about this field is that we do talk to people who are on the nice side of the field, because as you know, there's going to be entities that are not as friendly.
Oh, I've experienced them.
Yeah, right. So I've never been abducted, so I don't know, but it would make sense that you have a not so good side and then a good side. So
just like in any
with anything,
race or
anywhere,
any humans or any species, right, there's always the few that aren't,
and that to me also, you would think that maybe that's why we even want to be on an even higher frequency, so we could be closer towards the middle. Does that make sense? I don't know.
We want to be up higher than the middle. People are saying that Bigfoot is cryptid, but my experience is there are extraterrestrial forms of Sasquatch,
right,
whatever, Yeti, Bigfoot. I've experienced them twice in my life.
Wow.
And it wasn't a pleasant experience. But the night before, the Pleiades came and held me in their arms to bring healing to my body. So, and then it, like Dave Emmons said, you attract one and then the others are like, they're interested in, what's going on. So you will attract more.
Right. But it's all about attraction too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they've got to in with you. You believe you're a good conduit for them. So of course you're going to attract them more.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it's all about
if you're accepting, especially if you're accepting, then they're not going to be so afraid to approach or afraid to, teach us or show us things or whatever.
How many times have we had them waiting for us outside?
Well, a couple. There was a couple. There was one the other night that waited, but then I couldn't get you outside. So
oh no!
But I went back out, and it was just kind of paused there or whatever, and then I just came back and stood there, and it just started taking off again.
Yeah.
But it started taking off in a different direction. That's how I knew it wasn't a plane or anything like that. Because
and I've had one just recently too.
And they're pretty low. They're pretty low lately.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what do you think about interdimensional? So the times where they would be downtown, but they wouldn't be solid. They wouldn't be solid like a piece of, like this is solid, right. But it would be like see-through, like a certain portion would be hologram, or even that, or it would still be downtown, right? But it would be hologram to a certain point. I don't know.
And in another dimension, they're a solid. In interdimensional, another plane, they are a solid mothership.
Yes, right, right. I just and you know, here's a crazy thing that just recently. Wait. Let me go back to this other question. Was that my friend was very unhappy about being abducted because every time he would be hurt. Would it be a good question? Could he not question them and say, "Hey, could I have something, some good painkiller, and then you can do whatever you want"? Does that? I mean,
I mean, can he request no pain? I mean, you know,
is
I don't
that?
know.
When I was abducted, I didn't have any pain. Well, mine was pregnant implantation.
Mhm.
Um, and but the interesting thing is when okay, when I was a child and the green men, not gray, but green, people argue with me on this point that no, it's the grays. No, they were 2 feet tall. They were green. They
Mhm.
had, bulging eyes, weird ears, and long, spiky fingernails. I could feel them poking and scratching my legs. Now, when the Bigfoot, the extraterrestrial takes me to their ship and they're poking and scratching at me, I don't feel it at all, but when I wake up, there's scratches and puncture marks. So I don't know if it's because of the rise of my frequency, I don't feel it, or I don't really have an answer for that. Maybe if your friend raises, excuse me, his frequency with
Mhm.
meditation
Yeah.
and
Yep.
yep, and has
Yep.
conversation ahead of time and saying, I know that you're abducting me. I'm having a lot of negative experience. Can I please have a positive experience? Can I please not feel anything?
There
Have
you
him
go.
request it ahead of time, not when he's in there, but ahead of time. Have this conversation while he's in meditation.
Awesome. That's what I recommended.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Dang. Yeah, a
Good.
little bit. He needs a little bit of cannabis to kind of bring him off of his anxiety, and he
Yeah.
needs a little help meditating a little bit better. And he lives in Canada, so has no problems, getting whatever he needs up there. So that's what he needs to help bring him down a little bit. And he has a wonderful wife who can help take care of him to get him straightened on, just like me. So that's the thing that'll help the whole experience as well. But definitely what you said is all truthful. And that's something that I wanted everybody to know. That's why I wanted you to tell us the story, or the fact. It's not really a story, but it's just your experience, your life experience that that we're interested in, and also even more that you're a star seed. But there's so many different questions that even could come upon that, even, you know um how do you how do you say, oh, well, this is the star seed side of me, or this is the human side of me, or is there such thing as that?
Actually, it's like anybody with thoughts. You have your professional self, you have your mom, you have your dad's self, you have all the different personas. It's no
Mhm.
different from a humanoid extraterrestrial. I can actually, okay, if you want to block something out of your mind, you
Mhm.
block it out of your mind.
Mhm.
And that's no different than what I can do. But what I do is the different experiences I have, let's say like interdimensional and parallel lives,
Mhm.
you can, people are saying, well, I'm awake. Wait a minute. What was that experience? It looked like me doing this. They're touching on the energy of a parallel life. I touch on it more because I'm more interdimensional.
Mhm.
And it's, I wish I could turn on my starseed side more with when it comes to levitating, because I have had head injury 4 years ago.
Wow.
And now I have motion sickness when I levitate. I
Mhm.
never had it had I not been rebellious against the hierarchy of the grays. I would not have gotten a head injury. So I'm living with the consequences of my behavior. No
Okay,
different,
all right. There
no
you go.
different
That's
than
right.
any other family or employer.
Right. That's true. That's
And
true. So just the other day, I woke up. I finally got a little bit of sleep, and I woke up, but it was as if I hadn't been to sleep. As if I had opened up something in my mind, and I was seeing all these different worlds, and they were just going by, just floating by,
Mhm.
floating by, floating by. And then I got a clue of like, no, we can't go back in time as flesh and blood, but we could go back in time as an orb into wherever we want, as if it's a floating file. You just say, okay, I want to stop here, and if I want to stop in 1979 when I met her, and just say, hey, I can watch, but there's not much I can do, you know but I could say, okay, how about if this happened, or how about if that happened? That doesn't necessarily mean I'm God. That just means I can maybe look into a different dimension because of things happening interdimensionally. Does that make sense? Or
I
did I
don't,
talk totally crazy?
well, if you're in a different dimensional plane where a parallel dimension where that happened, yes, you can. But
Mhm.
but when you go back in time to when you met Claudette, you're still going to see everything that happened. It,
Yes.
it,
Yeah, that's
let
what I
me,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
let me,
I would see it, but it wasn't as if I was living it again. I'm
right.
not.
And you
No.
wouldn't be. Can I give you an example?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, I had put out that I wanted to see the different species, and I've seen 21 extraterrestrial species. And I just let it go. And I don't know how long time passed by, but I remember my spirit being taken, and I'm standing on a street corner seeing people going to and fro. And this is the 1920s.
Wow.
1920, 25 era, and people wearing the hats, the men wearing the overcoats, the women wearing the dresses and the purses and the heels. And I'm standing there going, why am I here? What is my purpose? And this woman comes up next to me in physical form and says, you're here to see the ant beings and to know about them.
Whoa.
And I said, ant beings, they look like people. And then she showed me what they look like under the flesh and blood. And I asked them, what are their purpose? What is their purpose? She
Mhm.
said, they are the grunt workers. They do the heavy lifting. They do the monotonous work. They are the people in the job place. They go to work, they do their job. It's all routine. It could be your data entry people. It could be anyone who is just having a mundane thing that they do day in, day out. It could
Wow.
be that they're sorting mail. They could work on a newspaper, just running at the time the lithograph. And that's all that they did. It was nothing creative.
Hmm.
Then they go home and they go to sleep and they get up. And I asked them, I said, do they go out to bars? She said, no. If they drink, it turns to sugar in their body, and it makes it detrimental for them, because sugar with an ant or even a bee, they go zipping right along and really fast. So it's not really good for them. So these are the people who you think have very boring lives, but they have a purpose. They're doing a job that a creative person would find very horrible to do. And
Wow.
they're very happy. They're not negative about their job. They go in, they punch a clock, and they come in. And I'm not saying that everyone who does that is an ant being. I'm just letting you know.
No, there's
Right.
people that we know without calling people's names out.
Certain repetitive jobs, just period. When you said that, came to mind. Just certain jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming from Idaho, the spud community, there's a lot of the clod picking and the sorting of the sizes and just stuff like that. So
Wow. Yeah. So okay, so if that's one type of people, what would be another type that you could describe?
Well, you have your star seeds who are creatives, they're artists, they're musicians, they're authors. They
Hmm?
do anything that is highly creative. They make jewelry. They're more on their entrepreneur side, or if they go for a job, it could be interior design. These people
Okay.
need to have a creative outlet,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't, let's say that when I was put into administrative assistant work or I was data entry, just show me a job. Within 1 to 2 weeks, I had it mastered and I was bored. I
Right.
hated
Okay.
filing. I hated filing in the
I
filing
hate filing too. Yeah. Now,
and
okay.
the
So
thing, people need more of a creative input. If they could be in marketing, and they would be a great advertising, telling the truth. Your
mhm.
advertisers that stretch the truth, they're more into truth telling, and because that work feeds them and it helps keep their frequency up.
That's what I like doing. I like being able to just tell the truth the way it is. And if I can't tell the truth, then I'll find somebody who can tell the truth. And that's the way that I find it, because I believe exactly what you're saying, and because I was thinking, I was like, well, yeah, it's like, look at me, right? Okay. I look reptilian. I've been told I look reptilian. I don't know. I don't think she don't look reptilian. Okay. But now I'm not as creative as I would like to be. But however I am pretty creative in my own way, you know. Um
You're creative when it comes to the medium that you work with, which is video, radio. You come up with cool videos.
yeah.
And, you can put little collages together to music with your
Yeah.
photos and stuff. That's where you're creative.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can't do that.
That's true.
I can't do that.
But yet we're attracted to each other because
No.
because she's
My creativity's in the kitchen.
right, her creativity is in the kitchen. So I could mention, say, okay, hon, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put something at the bottom of an iron pan and some cheese in the
Or he'll
middle.
go, this is what I'm thinking, and kind of this, and I'll go in the kitchen. He's like, wow, that's pretty good.
And she'll make it good, So I think, but it's also because of where we met each other on the island of Guam. We've always been connected with each other, and I always like to show people this right up here, that this is where we met. It's
Guam flag.
Yep, and we have our own special story. The fact that we've actually known each other all our lives, really, even though we've gone our separate ways and had our own separate marriages, but the marriages ended the same way because they both died of diabetes. So so it's one of those things. But so yeah, so
I'm
that's
pretty close to each other, like 2 years apart.
Yeah.
2 years.
So it's like we're meant to be with each other. Sorry, having a hard time talking today. So for you to verify that and say, yeah, that's it's great that we're able to learn from you and be able to forward it on to
It actually
the
kind of
everyday
makes you feel
person.
kind of like better about people that you have in your lives, or you
Mhm.
see them be a particular way. Now you can understand maybe why they're that
Mhm.
way,
Yeah.
and so it's a little bit more,
Yeah.
it's more tolerant because you can understand it.
And
Now I know why I can't do all the stuff you do.
yeah.
I'm not meant to do all that stuff.
And
And we each
you know,
have
I'm
our own special gifts.
right. And the good thing is that we can give our gifts back to those who have helped us get our gifts. I've been able to talk to my mom about the UFOs and about the paranormal and all that, and say, Mom, it's very easy. It's just like you're walking through one door to another through a portal. You will see Dad again, and he's already there, and he's
She
already
used to
waiting.
kind of raise one eyebrow at us when we would say that I can't do that. She used to kind of raise one eyebrow, like, well, but now she's like, oh, I know, he's here. I know I'm going to see him again, and stuff like that.
And
I think it's more of a comfort to her because we've explained it to her and we've shown her things, and she's experienced things with us when we're there.
and she's all I also think that the entities have shown themselves to her and Claudette and me, even at the same time, was because of to me, it felt like it was an honor. It felt like, hey, we want to show ourselves in your backyard. And, and my dad had just recently passed. So all the stuff that really makes sense, I think, what do you think?
Les, it's not easy. It's easy for you. It's easy for Claudette, but it's not always easy for everyone else.
Right.
There are people who want to see crafts and don't. It's frustrating for them. But just know that when you open the door to the crafts, that you're opening up a very special communication, and open that communication with love. So you will attract the benevolent extraterrestrials. But I can go out and look at a cloud formation I posted on Facebook. Someone says, oh, that's just a cloud formation to me. And somebody else who has been trained to see this, has been allowed to see it, goes, wow, that spacecraft looks like it must have been really booking through the clouds. So not everyone is allowed, and it's not always easy.
Right. And that's something I've been working on lately, especially with people talking about, oh, this is Photoshop, that's Photoshop.
This isn't real. This isn't real. It's just because they don't believe enough to have be let in to see it.
Here's what they forget. They forget that Photoshop can be used for good too. Hello, you can use it for bringing the lights out better. You can bring the highs out, the lows better, and you can make it look pretty dang good. But when you're almost 60 years old like me, hello, I used to know all this stuff, but I will tell you this, that I have a Photoshop original. If you want to download it, it says nothing on it. You go through each layer and you can pull out all the different filters. It wasn't like nothing was added. It was as if like
you're taking it all away.
I was fixing the filters to make it look better. So yeah. So if we had just those glasses before long. Now I was going to ask you, because that you are a starseed, do you have let's see, what do you call that? A quantum vision?
What do you mean by quantum vision?
Have you ever been able to see things that with just your own eyes, with your own eyes, that most people wouldn't be able to see with their regular eyes? Like, could you see through a wall and be like, well, people can't normally do that?
No, only when I got mouthy to a UFO extraterrestrial did I get beamed. And for 20 minutes, as my punishment, I could see through walls. I could see what the neighbors were doing, and it was like, oh God, oh God. You can't get that out of your mind, because you don't want to know what they're doing on that couch by themselves and not dressed in anything. So that's that. And I know I would not, but what I can do is I can remote view.
I've heard of that, which I know.
Which I can, if somebody wants to know something, I can then go ahead and look to see what is happening, where it's been. And I've been able to remote view since that was one of my metaphysical gifts that I brought with me.
Now, what do you, for those who don't know what remote viewing is, describe in the most easy way. And by that, I mean, if I want to go down to talk to the lady at the Dollar General, I want to say, here's what remote viewing is. What's the easiest way to describe remote viewing?
It's like watching a movie at somebody else's, where they are. Let's say she wants to, okay, I'll give you an example. When I was in my 20s, I was in those old time chat rooms that we had on listserv, and it was all free at the time. So I'm in this chat room, just investigating what the internet was like. And I met this woman in Ohio, and her boyfriend was in England. So and they were getting together. So they were like, she was like one night, well, he says he's tired, but I haven't seen him as much. The honeymoon phase had, gone off. It had just, and it was waning. So she said, can you please look and see what he's doing? I said, well, I've never done it before. Everything that I had always remote viewed or had seen was like second nature. So this was my first application in my 30s to go and look. So I said his name, I felt his energy, and I was like I was on top of on his ceiling of his room, but I wasn't looking down on him sleeping on his bed. And I said, he's asleep. And she said, I said, he's alone. He has a sheet draped over him and he's wearing nothing underneath the sheet. And so she asked him and he agreed to it. Well, then he comes in remote views and I could feel it. And we both agreed not to do that anymore.
That's interesting. Okay, now let me if I was to give you the coordinates or actually tell you about the Native American stone circle that's about a mile from here, could
not give me the coordinates, but tell me about it?
Right. So basically it's a stone circle that looks like most Cherokee stone circles, and it has a dot in the middle of it, and it has little squares kind of denoting like the
little square
times,
stones. It's all
maybe?
stones.
Mm-hmm.
It's by a creek.
It's by a creek.
It's at the base of our mountain that we live on. It's by a creek. And the guy that I take care of, his wife, said that back in the day, there'd be teepees and stuff down there by the creek, along the creek, the Cherokee. And because he's part Cherokee. And that was their ceremonial stone circle. But then we heard that those are also associated with portals. Because we know the Native Americans called them sky people. So we just want to know, is it, is that what it is, or?
Yes. Because what I see is a stone like that.
Yes.
And because I've never looked at them. And then underneath this part, right here.
Yes.
Third hand right here I could see almost like a door, and somebody sitting in the doorway looking out, or sitting in there waiting to go somewhere else.
Oh,
okay.
And then I could see somebody also sitting there, just probably meditating. Go ahead.
There is that one part that's a little different than the rest that she's talking about.
Right. Yeah. So did you say that there's somebody waiting there to go through it, or there's somebody there protecting?
She doesn't know what.
Actually, somebody is sitting there. I could see somebody sitting there, and they may be protecting it, or somebody is coming through there to time travel to come here.
Okay.
And then they can go back through that portal as well. We have workers that they come through different portals and they do the work they're supposed to here. They go back through the portal and go back to where they were.
So do you think that's why our area is as active as it is then, because we're so close to that stone circle?
Yes. There's a lot of sacred rituals that went on, and like you said, ceremonies, and all that does is it enacts the spirit world.
And nobody treads on that ground. It's very protected by the neighbors. Nobody goes out there. It's still very much pristine.
Sacred, yeah.
Sacred, yes. It's very sacred. Nobody touches it. So I think that would help it stay active as possible too.
Yeah, it just reinforces the reason why it's
just reinforces what we thought we knew. We know. So
yeah.
Well, if you want to put something to the test, when I went to College of Notre Dame in Belmont, California, there was a summit up on the hill that we were not allowed to go to. And one of the young girls said that's where the witches would do their rituals, and they would have a fire. So close to the full moon, we went out, there's 4 of us, and we could see apparitions of women, the spirits of the women, and a fire. And the one woman ran up there to see it. Only when she got there, we didn't see her. We kept seeing the apparition. We didn't see her at all, and she saw nothing, including a fire.
Wow.
So if you want, go down by that area close to a full moon and see what you see. See if anything appears to you.
Wow.
That's a good idea because we could definitely see it close enough from the road there to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something we need to record because there's times up here where it is so quiet. It is just like dead quiet.
Yeah.
And like you wouldn't even believe it, but it's beautiful. But Gloria, it's been wonderful talking to you.
Same here. Do you ever hear wolves howl? Wolves or coyotes?
We have coyotes right now. Coyote pups are around. So we hear them scream and squeal. They're kind of like little kids squealing. It's kind of eerie. But the guy that I take care of his wife, he knows I'm kind of a city girl as I've only been up here a couple of years. He's like, keep your dogs on their leashes. Don't go out of your yard at night. Turn your lights on out there. It was because the pups are around. And it was, I heard him out by my chicken house the other night. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, close to a full moon, start paying attention to see if you hear other different types of sounds. And
Okay.
it could be the spirit world getting ready to appear. Maybe around that stone circle.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So that
sometimes we do hear things.
So it's like Halloween, but every month, right?
Well, whenever there's a full moon.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it Halloween because that's.
Well, I know it's not Halloween, but
it brings up the spirit world of celebration and ceremony.
Right.
That would be.
Yes, that's true. But yeah.
Well, that would be, sometimes we are up quite late on the weekends and we'll be out there and he'll go, did you hear that? Or did you hear that?
Yeah, like last night.
Sometimes just right under, we hear the rustle in the leaves, the wind, but just right under that wind, we can hear things.
Last
night I heard tree knocking.
Yeah,
I heard tree knocking,
I've heard whistling before. I've heard.
Those are methods of communication.
Yes.
Indians would use whistling and knocking on things as a means of communication. So they would not be, it was like if they were hunting, they would whistle or they would knock, only not to frighten their prey, or if they were hunting for their meat. That's the method that they would communicate.
While you were remote viewing here, did you happen to see any settlements or any if you saw the Cherokees or did you see the Cherokees?
I only saw the one area you asked me about. I didn't venture. I was only given that one area, the stone circle.
So is it possible to venture from there?
In a different session, probably.
Right. I see what you're saying. Right. Okay. So now, because if you now I'm thinking about this, you kind of would maybe get lost in your mind, then, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to do. Yes, because what I can do is I can just keep on going, and I'll be sitting here, but my mind will be somewhere else.
Right. Does that make sense? Makes sense. You're turning red. You're turning red. All right, that's good. Hey, you see? Look how red she is. Ooh, I like that. All right, but it's true. No, it's true because I like you had the perfect answer for the perfect question. So yeah, of course it was great because you could get lost in your mind. We could do a whole show just alone on remote viewing for those who would love to learn how to do it and do it good. Can anybody do it?
Yes, all they have to do is fixate their mind on a certain object that they want, and it's something that you need to practice. It was like a couple of weeks ago, I was communicating with somebody, and they were asking about this one place, and images were just flashing in my mind, one right after another. And they asked, do you know of this place, or this is what you're picking up? I said, it's what I'm picking up.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where if I do know of a place, of course, I'm not going to admit if it can get me in trouble. No.
Right.
No, but what he was talking about was I could see things, and there were areas where he was in, so I could go through his mind's eye. but I can do that as an extraterrestrial. But I normally, if I was a human that didn't have the capabilities and with the remote viewing, then I would go ahead and just concentrate on an image. Um, Also, a couple of weeks ago, I was involved in on an X space, and they were doing precognitive, and they asked you to pick certain numbers. And what they do is one of the people, the co-host, will start concentrating on um, an image.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was to get people to see if they can fine tune the numbers. Well,
Wow.
what I ended up picking up was rectangles in a mist. I saw a rectangle and it was misty. It looked like it was floating. There was another rectangle where there was grass. And he showed an image of a barn with a lot of mist and grass.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what I saw was distorted
Mm-hmm.
because of the two information, but it was enough that I could put things together. Now, when it comes to, I've worked with the police on a couple of things, and even with a family on a missing person. I see a tree, and to me, it looked like a tree, but I'm not from Idaho, and it was a very large bush that looked like a tree. And I said,
Right.
there's a steep embankment, and I see this and I see that. And I didn't know that there were a lot of those areas around that certain area, and they did find the person, unfortunately
Wow.
too late. But
Wow.
I knew with all the details I was giving, they were able to find him 3 days later.
Wow.
And
That's amazing. Yeah, we laugh about it, but if you think about it, even if you were able to explore then, you would even be able to explore back and go even further back and find even more information out about that case. And then while in the meantime your body's dying locally because your stomach is friggin' hungry, and but your mind is working, right? And
that's why I do things on a full stomach. And usually I will get things in bits and pieces. But
that's
working on this case, I would work on it, for a few minutes, and then I would get tired. So I would stop. But I could see, but the case, actually about the cases and everything I worked on was to bring it all together and give it to the police, but they have to go on fact. They can't go on images and visions.
right, right,
Yeah.
And I remember working on this one case for 3 months. It wasn't really a case. The spirit would come to me, and it was Native American. And I can't really go into much detail on this, but her spirit came over mine, and then I could see her
right.
her life.
Mhm.
I could see her
Wow.
children, her
Like,
dog, her
wow.
house, and then I was able to see who killed her and how.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
can't go into any more detail because
Right,
I received a death threat on it,
Oh,
right,
wow.
right, right.
from the
Yeah,
murderer and
I
the
understand that.
accomplices.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for teaching us, and thank you for enlightening us. And I'm honored to have you on my channel, and honored to have you as a friend. And
Yes.
you literally have said every single thing I believe in. So yes, and but I'm glad that you were able to get your story out. And you're like me; we could probably talk for hours on end and weeks on end. And but it's good because you have the knowledge too, and you're able to provide that. It's like you wouldn't have known otherwise to say, "Oh yes, I eat. I have a full stomach before I do this." And it's like, "Thank you." I would too, and see, I wouldn't have known that,
Yes.
so I probably would have been hungry, and then, but you taught me that, so thank you so much, Master.
You're
All right,
welcome, Grasshopper. Um, and I could have even said something you don't believe in because it's something you may not have heard of
okay,
before. But if you want to do the remote viewing, let's not do it on a live. Let's do it on a pre-recorded, so that
okay.
way you can edit it and we can see what is happening and going on. And that way I will be more relaxed.
That
That'd be
would be
And
better.
neat.
That'd be
Yeah.
better. All right, right on. Okay. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go, and it's been great talking to you, and thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for getting your story out, and you'll be able to get more out. And this is going to be a good year for everybody. We're gonna keep it good.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll keep writing books and promoting them and doing
Yes,
more
all right.
podcasts.
Yes. All right. And then
And I'll write my questions down next time.
yes. And so how can people get a hold of you if they would like to get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me on Facebook. You can send me a message. Send me,
Okay.
do a follow. Don't send a friend request. I don't always friend everyone who sends me a request depending
Okay.
on their profile.
Okay.
So you can
I'm the
send
same
me a
way.
message on there. And don't just send a hi or how are you? And if you send a hi and
I'm the
and
same
you're
way.
a and if you're a digital marketer, you promote books, I'm not going to respond.
That's
You
right.
don't just
Yeah.
say, I was interested in your, I was interested in your book, only to lead in that you want to help me promote my book, which I'm going to do a plug real quick. It's My
Yes,
Journey
you
as
go
a
ahead.
Gray Hybrid.
All right.
It's
There you
on
go.
Amazon, and I go back from when I started all the way up through when there are ceremonial, there's a ceremonial, a pregnancy ceremony that the Gray Extraterrestrials do. They will take you to a planet where they will feed you, and it's like going into this huge buffet, and you will see them as humans because they don't want you to be afraid of them.
Wow.
I talk about my life on the spaceship, and I go from there.
And where's
Amazon?
Amazon, yeah, my journey as a Gray Hybrid.
Okay.
And I just coming out this
One,
Tuesday.
can I send it to you to your autograph? You send it back?
Yes,
All right. All right, we'll do
I
that.
most definitely will, but only because I know less than Claudette will I give them
Yeah.
my street address. I won't do that for everybody,
No,
and I'm not
yeah.
sending out a digital autograph either.
all right. All right, Gloria. Well, hey, we love you, and we will
Okay.
continue to be talking to you. So,
Okay.
all right. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Gloria.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.